All right, guys, we're going to do a deep dive into ABT, where ABT started, where it went, how we got to where we are today. This is not financial advice, but this is to give you indication when you should have exited ABT, when you should have re-entered ABT. How do you process this information? This trend line just gives you an educated guess on what you should do. All right, so let's get into it. As you can see, ABT began its move right here. So as ABT came to the top of the trend, if you were doing longs and shorts, sure, you could take a small short, let ABT travel down, come here. As soon as it touched the trend line, you could let that short position go. Then ABT goes up again close to the trend line, gets rejected, comes back down to the trend line. Again, ABT rises. And look, when ABT hit this peak of this trend line, ABT was 460. But this doesn't confirm that this trend is over. Because if you look at it, ABT continues to come down, wicks come down. Now, as it comes to the end of the trend line, and I'm going to move this line over so we can see what's going on. So I'll zoom in a little bit. As you can see, as ABT travels down this way, finally it gets a candle right here. Now this candle shows that it's wicking out and a little bit of the body is outside of that trend line. But this is still not confirmed. This is why Lux Algo signal does not tell you what the target is until this candle forms. And you can see this candle is clearly outside of the trend line. So this is your first confirmation candle that ABT is going to go on the downside. Now, if you look at it, when it gives you that signal, it's 380. ABT comes back up, hits $4 and let's say 5 cents. This is your window to let go of ABT because you know ABT now is going to go on a downtrend. That's your confirmation because ascending pattern always, not always, but majority of the time breaks to the downside. That's what the pattern itself tells you. So now let's move the chart over. So let's say you decided you didn't want to let ABT go when this candle formed at 380. Now it starts to go down. Now ABT is down to 360. ABT comes down here. Now it's at 282. ABT wicks down. Now ABT is at 240. So you had all this time to let it go, but you didn't, right? So it's on a downtrend. ABT then works itself and goes to 280. And then ABT continues on its descending pattern. Now we're going to zoom out of the chart a little bit more. So if you look at it, as ABT continues to come down, ABT travels down on the bottom part of the trend, breaks above the yellow line, which now puts us on the bullish part of the trend here. But it's still on a descending trend. So ABT keeps coming down, and look, it gets out of the bullish pattern. Now, because we're on a downward trend, the price overall is going to continue to go down. It's not going to go up until it breaks out of this trend line, which it has not. So when we get the crash, ABT comes down, wicks down to here, hits below $1. But as soon as it hits below $1, it comes back up, hits 177. But if you look at it, ABT is still in our trend line. So people get all bullish, but nothing has changed. ABT just came to the lowest part of the trend, then came back to the highest part of the trend, never formed a candle above the top trend line, and falling parallel channel breaks to the upside. It has not decided to break to the upside. So ABT doesn't have a choice. ABT staying on the bullish part of the pattern still, but it's slowly working its way down. And if you look at it, if ABT decides to go down, ABT could go to 60 cents. I'm not saying it's going to go to 60 cents, but let's say ABT stays on this yellow trend part of the line. ABT can continue to travel down, come down just to here, which is the middle of that bullish part of the trend line between the yellow and the white. So ABT just needs to come right here where I have the dot. So I'm going to clear it up. ABT only needs to come to this area here. So if you look at it, if it keeps making candles and keeps coming down, ABT is easily gonna hit $1 again until ABT decides it's going to break this white line and ABT sets a candle above this white line and even maybe a second candle above the white line. ABT is not going to make the move up until you get this confirmation candles. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and extend my line out a little bit more here, here, and here. Let's make this line a little bit straight. Let me zoom out, make sure my lines are touching enough points. I feel satisfied with this. Okay, so let's zoom back in. So I want to show you something. If ABT decides it's not going to break the trend line until this point right here, and ABT decides to stay on the top of the trend and is hugging the channel, and let's say it stops right here, it can easily hit 90 cents coming down this trend line. So ABT is not looking hot. It's traveling down. I'm not telling you it's going to go to 90 cents. I'm not telling you it's going to go to 46 cents, because if you zoom out, I want to show you something. ABT got a sell signal right here. This sell signal was from this candle. It was confirmed right here at $2.20. Now this is the second and third confirmation of this down channel. If you didn't let ABT go and you didn't believe it the first time it was going to break $3, you still had a chance at $2.20 to exit. At this point, ABT continues to come down. But look, from this down signal, ABT did travel down. And it went close to its first take profit target on a short. Since then, the signal hasn't changed. So I covered this in a previous video. What does that mean? As it stands right now, 94 cents is its support line. So this is your support line. If ABT comes down and doesn't bounce from this area, then ABT is gonna work itself towards the second target. Now remember, we're looking at the day chart, so you're seeing a more extreme version. So I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart so things don't look as scary. But 4-hour chart is no different. So let me show you. So if you look at the 4-hour chart, we got a sell signal on the 16th. It got confirmed at 135. It went up to 140, and it thinks it's going to keep going down. Now look, it could come touch here and continue its way down. And as it comes, it's going to retest this area. And if the pullback is bad, it could even come down to 80 cents. So keep that in mind. Sorry, I got interrupted. So I'm going to check again. So what I'm trying to show you guys is that you need to go download TradingView. It's free. You need to go ahead, make trend lines. Once you make the trend line, you follow this which is the line we want to break out of. You follow this, which is the bottom of the trend line, where most likely it will bounce. If it ever came below this trend line, it started setting candles, then this is what would be called a fake out. Then it would come back inside the trend line, set a new candle, and continue to work the trend line. So once you make this trend line, this yellow line here, if you're below it, is bearish. If you're above it, is bullish. So just keep in mind, you watch the trend line. So if ABT is coming down this way, if you wanted to buy ABT, you don't want to buy it while it's hugging the channel, right? You want to buy it when it comes to either this part, or you want to buy it either when it comes to this part. But at this stage where we are, I don't think ABT is going to come down to the bottom of the channel, because if it does, it's going to bring us to the 30 cents range. So if I had to use my experience, that limited experience I have, and I had to guess, I would tell you ABT is getting very close to breaking out of this trend line. So ABT will probably travel down a little bit more, either here, 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 or here. At this stage, ABT will finally decide to break out of the trend line. That's just an educated guess I'm taking. So let me remove the lines, and I'll wrap up this video by saying, I'm just giving you an insight how the trend line is guiding you and helping you to know how it's moving. Stop looking at the price movement. Look at the freaking trend line. The trend line is telling you where it's going. So when you're thinking it's bullish, it's not bullish. It's just hitting the top of the trend line. Until it breaks out of the trend line, it's not bullish. So we're on a falling pattern. Until it forms a candle above that trend line, it is not bullish. Just remember that. Learn some basics on the trend lines. Guys, this video went very long, but I know a lot of people hold ABT. A lot of people think about what's happening with ABT. I'm just showing you all the steps and moves you could have done. I showed you where the confirmation was. You could have sold it at 380. You could have sold it at 220. You could have bought it at below $1. You could have bought it at 110. You could have bought it at 120. You could have bought it again at 130. You could have bought it at 140. You could have bought it at 150 if you would have let it go at 280, even at 380. Stop letting all the YouTubers tell you, oh, we're going to the moon, we're going this. Yes, we may go to the moon, but the moon is not happening right now. They're going to tell you what they have to tell you. So stop buying into everything. Do your own research, run your own charts, run your own trend line. You don't have to be genius to get the basic concept of trend lines. Run trend lines and see how it's moving. Do it on 2-3 cryptos you don't even hold. Make your own educated guess. And once you make your educated guess, watch how it plays out. You don't have to buy anything. Just practice on trend line and see how accurate your predictions are. So till next time, please do homework. Stop sitting around and waiting.